Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to Lipstick and Lap Times, where glamour meets grit, beauty meets horsepower, and powerful stories take center stage. I'm your host, Kimberly Robinson, and I'm here to celebrate women who have overcome adversity, who have broken barriers, and who have chased impossible dreams and turned pain into power. So buckle up and turn up the volume and get ready, and we will move and inspire you and remind you what all matters, and to create your own success. I want to introduce my guest today. We have Mrs. Trinity Pearson, our elite queen of the world. Thank you. She is a certified life coach, a author, a speaker, a pageant coach, and of course, our reigning elite Mrs. Queen of the World. But she also is our former Mrs. USA Queen of the World and Mrs. Tennessee America. A little round of applause. Woo! I have an
Thank
applause
you.
button. I should use it. All right, Trinity, I'm going to give the stage to you, my dear. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, what led you to become a coach, an author, or a speaker?
Awesome. Thank you. Well, first, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here. I did not set out to become a coach. When I received my life coaching certification, that was around 2020, around pandemic time, when we all had a whole lot more time on our hands than what we wanted to have, right? And I found myself at home with two teenage daughters and just looking with all that free time what I can do self developmental wise, because
Mm-hmm.
I love, like, I'm a self developmental geek, right? Guru, I love all those things. What can I do to make myself a better mom and to get through these teenage years in a better way? And so that's when I found life coaching and thought, this looks really fun, like something that I would absolutely love. And so that's how I got the certification. It really was, I did not set out to do this as a career. It was not, it was really just something for me, self developmental wise.
Nice. How fun.
Yeah. And then it turned into um, not everyone that I work with is in a pageant, but a lot of women are, and so it just kind of turned into, I'm losing my sash here, losing my elite queen of the world here. Let me fix that. So it just kind of over time turned into life coaching and pageant coaching, depending on what my clients are needing in their journey. So that's really how I got started with the life coaching. It was
Mm-hmm.
just having two teenagers in the house and wanting to become a better version of myself for them, really.
Mm-hmm. That is a great way to spend your time during COVID. So, what about an author? You did write two books, The Queen's Code and
Mhm.
Called to Thrive, Your Purpose
Yes,
Defined. So, The
yes,
Queen's Code is 5 keys to success on
yes.
and off stage. So with those books, what made you want to write those books? What made you want to become an author?
I found myself talking about a lot of topics, a lot of the same topics day in and day out, whether someone was in pageantry or not. And I just wanted to put those topics into a source, just a quick, it's a very quick read, easy to read. I did that by design because sometimes you just want to get through the information quickly and become, use those things to become
Mm-hmm.
the next level of yourself, right? So it's a quick, easy read, but I just found that I was talking about a lot of the same things day in and day out. And I thought, if one person's struggling with this and then the next person's struggling, why should I gatekeep that? I'm going to put it in a book so that anybody can get it at any time, whether they're working with me or not. And if it helps even just a couple of people become a better version of themselves, especially when they're out on stage and the nerves kick in, then
Yeah.
then it was worth it to take the time to write that and put it out there. And so that is the Queen's Code. And then my workbook is called to Thrive, and it's
Mm-hmm.
actually just kind of completely separate from the Queen's Code. I love vision boards.
Mm-hmm.
I usually do a vision board workshop for clients just about every year, because I just take information and build on it, and just becomes better versions of the next vision board. And so I started putting all of that information into a workbook so
Okay.
that anyone, whether they're working with me or not, again, can start a vision board. It doesn't have to be. the cut and paste projects, like what I used to think they needed to be, right? I usually keep just a piece of paper that I make in Canvas right here in my desk drawer, so I can just open it up constantly, see my vision board right there. So that's really what Called to Thrive is all about. It's more of just my love of vision boards and putting that into a workbook.
Oh, I love that. I have a vision board. Well, you guys can't see right now, but right on my wall, I have one of those big
Yeah.
eraser boards, and I
Yes.
always put manifestations on them.
Mhm.
And right now, my manifestation is become a badass nurse, which I already am, but bad
Yes.
already
You
better.
are.
Make my business stronger. Create trails for my girls and become a better version of myself mentally, physically, and emotionally. Those are
I love
mine right
it.
now. There, thank
I
you.
love
Yeah.
it.
But I
Yes.
love that you say that because I haven't looked at it in a while, and I actually just looked at it today again and thought about it, and it was just like, okay, it's such a good reminder to have that, for anybody, especially women, because we're so hard on ourselves and we get distracted, right? We have so much
Yes.
going on in our world. We have children, we're wives. I'm a grandmother, so it's like here
Right.
and there, and we forget about what is going to, make us happy, or what do we want our goals to be. And I feel like it's the same way in pageantry. Those are one of the steps that we do that I know for me, and I was just thinking about this today. I've never been a makeup girl. I kind of was like, oh, I never really knew how to do my makeup. And then as soon as I got in pageantry, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. And not that like I absolutely love makeup, but I do like dolling myself up and being able to do it myself. And that
Yes.
right there is like, I'm proud of that because I did not know how to do my makeup until I got into pageantry. So now I'm like, woo!
Cool. I love sitting in a makeup chair. There is just something so special and just
Mhm.
glam when you're sitting there and someone creates a look for you. But when you're able to do that for yourself, I think it's special in its own way, because
Yeah.
until I learned how to do my makeup, like I was so excited to sit in someone's makeup chair, but then to
Hmm.
go home and not be able to recreate anything remotely close to that was so depressing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I would get
Right.
home and I was like, how did they contour? How did they do this? How did my eyes look like that? Like it's still my eyes, but
Hmm.
so once I started taking some lessons, it was a confidence boost to know that I could somewhat recreate a professional glam look without sitting in a professional chair. But
Right.
I still love the professional chair.
Me too. Okay. I mean, I'll take anybody to pamper me any day, hands up. I actually a gal did my makeup once for a photo shoot, and it was for a magazine, and she lives here in Oregon, and actually asked her if she would show me how she did my makeup, and she did, and she ended up being my sponsor, and she did makeup for Miss Universe, and the way she did it was just, it looked so good, but it was so easy. It was easier than I thought. So that was a fantastic thing to do. So yes, ladies, it's always self-fulfilling when you can learn how to do your own makeup for sure.
Yes.
So let's get into, because I know we were just talking about the book. So let's just go there.
Mhm.
Let's go with the Queen's Code.
Okay.
What inspired you? Oh, well, I guess you kind of answered that question. I said, what inspired you to write it?
Yeah, it was really just wanting to get just a few key messages about stage presence, about our presence on social media. Um, just I just found that there were five topics that I was constantly talking about that
Hmm.
I just really wanted to get out there, just to help advance someone's mission, to help them get their legacy project, their platform out there. And if I could give them a few little tricks of the trade along the way to help them promote it a little bit better, then that was the whole point in the Queen's Code.
And where can they get that book at if anybody
It's
wants to purchase it?
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to get it. You can just go in and type in the Queen's Code, my name, and it'll pop right up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then as far as, is it called to thrive, or is it just thrive? The book
Called to
called to
thrive.
okay,
Called to
called to
thrive.
thrive.
Mhm.
Okay. What message did you hope the readers would take away from that book?
That a vision board can really be whatever you want it to be. It does not have to be. I remember years ago going to vision board parties, and it would all, they would throw out all these magazines, and you just cut and paste all these pictures of things that were never really going to happen, but really looked very cool on a page, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that, while that is great in a way and is a useful tool to dream big of a dream great vacation, whatever, um, I, Call to Thrive was really about digging deep into what you want to do for the year and to drill it down into really easy to achieve goals by quarters. And that's really the whole idea behind Call to Thrive, is just to create whatever type of vision board that works for you. Like again,
Yeah.
I like to use Canvas or Canva, but if you want to just, it could just be a list
Mm-hmm.
on notebook paper. It doesn't have to be anything fancy like what we used to do with those
Yeah.
magazines and cutting
Yeah.
them out. So that was really the whole point in that, because I'm a big believer in when it is in front of you, like what you said with your dry erase board, when it's there and you can constantly see it and
Mm-hmm.
add to it. Nothing is to me is more satisfying than like marking something off, like, yes, I've already done that.
Yeah.
So when it's constantly in front of you, you can add and delete and change. We have the freedom to, if it's on your vision board and you're moving along throughout the year and you're perhaps a little bit different in your self development growth than where you were when you started that vision board, you have permission to change it, right, and adjust it for the year. So that is Called to Thrive. That vision boards are truly like my thing, my passion. I love doing workshops on those every year, and really probably one of the key things about what I love about coaching.
I know we mentioned also you're a speaker. Can you tell me a few places and where you speak at? Do you do women's events or
Mhm.
conventions or yeah.
Mostly women's events. I think feel like my
Oh.
target audience with the crown and the sash. That's always
Mm-hmm.
women's events, right? And really, sharing my story of how I got into pageantry, my cancer journey, and getting through that, and then finding pageantry. There's so many different aspects of my life that I can share in various different women's groups, that's really where I find myself speaking. And, I have to be honest, it's funny to even call myself a speaker because I grew up so shy. Like, to call myself a speaker now, I'm like, really? Do I do that now? That's amazing. 8-year-old me would never have thought that I'm going to do that, or 15-year-old me, right? But that is something that I feel very, very blessed to be able to do. And, pageantry definitely gave me that skill set to be able to get up in front of an audience and share the
Y-
fun things and the hard things about life.
Yeah, I did not know. So you just mentioned this. You're a cancer survivor, huh?
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, yeah, yes. It's been a minute now, praise the Lord. But yeah, when I was 32,
Mm-hmm.
I was 7 months, well, yeah, 6, 7 months pregnant with our second daughter, and I was diagnosed with stage 2 melanoma.
Okay.
And so had to have surgery when I was pregnant, and then had another surgery after, and was under the care of an oncologist for many years. But it's all been in the clear for many, many years now. That daughter that I was pregnant with just graduated from high school, so it has
Nice.
been, so I've had, a very healthy life for quite a while. But it was a really um, a really scary time
Yeah.
at that time to go through all of that. And um, that's really where pageantry kind of fell back into my life, actually. Once I was released from my oncologist, which was about 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long journey, 7 years. I was just in a really, I'd had so many other health complications going along with all of that. Um, I just kind of lost myself and didn't really even
Yeah.
recognize myself anymore. But pageantry, which I had done in college, just kept coming back to mind. And I didn't even know Mrs. Pageantry was a thing, right? Um, so I was like, why do I keep thinking about this thing I did in college? But then I found out that, just with a little Google search, that it did exist. And that there was something for women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond in pageantry. Um, that's when I started thinking about it. But I have a very large scar on my leg from that melanoma. And so for many years, I thought there's no way I could ever do anything like that because I have this scar on my leg. I can't get out there in a swimsuit. Like I just totally like self-sabotaged myself, right? Like I can't do that. And then till one day I looked in the mirror and I was looking at the scar and I thought about all of the people that had been in not even as bad of shape as me,
Yeah.
right? But lost their lives. And I thought, how can I let this rather large, but this little scar keep me
Mm-hmm.
from doing something when so many others lost their lives? And that was kind of a turning point. Just that moment in my bathroom, just a turning point of why how can I let that stop me when so many others didn't survive what I had survived?
Mm-hmm.
So
That's a fan. Go ahead.
yeah, and that's how I jumped back into pageantry.
That's a good story, and that's a great way to look at it, because you're inspiring other women too to do the same thing,
Hmm.
And we just did a sad story. We just lost a friend from cancer, and he had pancreatic cancer, and he only lived for 3 weeks when he found out. So it's just shows you that life is so short,
Yeah.
and it's like go out there, show, be do whatever you want to do. Do
Yeah.
do what makes you happy. Love your,
Yes.
your family, your friends. Be a part of your
Yeah.
world. Oh, I was gonna say, I was gonna ask you something. Oh, what was your first pageant you did?
Oh goodness. Let's see. Okay. Well, it's changed its name a couple of times, but it was a scholarship pageant. At the time, it was called Junior Miss. It's still around.
Uh-huh.
It was very well known back then, and now it's known as Distinguished Young Woman.
Oh, cool.
And it's a scholarship pageant. That was the very first one that I did when I was 17, and jumped into my local preliminary and won, and was completely bitten by the pageant bug at that point. Went on to state. I did not win the state competition, but I did win the talent competition. And that was another huge, huge reason why I wanted to continue with pageantry, is because I was just looking for more avenues to just get on stage and sing. And that was, pageantry was a
I'm
very
busy.
easy way. Pageantry
I'm
was,
gonna do Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. My grandson's talking right now.
it never
You
stopped. I
guys,
understand.
hold
I'm a
on. What?
mom.
What? Yeah, 1 second. What's up, buddy?
I'm trying to figure out how to transform the tank and the.
Oh my gosh, she's asking about his Transformers.
Okay.
I'll help you in a minute, but I'm busy. Okay, give me a few minutes and I'll help you. So I know you're from Tennessee. So
Yes.
was the pageant in Tennessee? Is it local
Yes.
to Tennessee? Okay.
Yes, it was the local Chattanooga preliminary, and then I went on to the Tennessee state pageant. Did not win the state, but did win talent. And then from there, just went on to enter Miss America for Tennessee prelims,
Mm-hmm.
and became the what I called myself was I was the runner-up queen, because I
Mm-hmm.
did, you know, back in the college days, I had a great swimsuit body. That one came very easily. I would usually walk away with a swimsuit prelim award, usually a talent prelim award, and then I would lose an interview because I just had no idea what I was doing. I was nervous, didn't know what to do. So I became the runner-up queen. I was consistently like first and second runner-up every weekend. But during that time, the fun part about this story is I entered 13 prelims before I finally made it to Miss Tennessee. But during that time, I was winning money every weekend. I think I lost her. But I'll go ahead and tell the story. I was winning money
Okay, here
every
we are.
weekend. Yes, okay. I
Yes.
was like, I was like, do I go ahead and tell the story?
No, go
So
for it.
I entered 13 prelims before I ever made it to the state pageant. But during that time of those 13 pageants, I was winning scholarship money every weekend.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so I paid for almost all of my bachelor's degree and had probably half left over to pay for my master's degree
Oh, wow. That's
from from
amazing.
from being the runner-up queen, as I called myself back then.
Oh my gosh.
So,
If I would have known, I'm sorry, if I would have known that was available, I don't know if it is available here in Oregon, but I didn't know about pageants when I was that young. So go ahead.
yeah, so I that and during that time I continued to get better and better at talent, right? That was because I had that experience weekend after weekend. If I'd won the first one, I wouldn't have had all the experience under my belt. And I also gained that public speaking experience that I needed right out of college. Little did I know that I needed right after college for my corporate career. So everything that I thought was working against me, being the runner-up queen, was actually helping me become the person that I was going to be in my 20s, 30s, and even today in my career today. So it's really fun to think back on how sad I was at times that I'd walked away, again, second runner up or first runner up, even though I walked away with some cash in my hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I hadn't won, thinking about everything that I learned along the way.
Mm-hmm.
It was really an amazing experience that I'm really thankful for, uh,
Yeah.
looking back.
Yeah. Mentioned interview. I didn't know you said you were terrible at interview back then. Obviously, you've improved because you are. You've improved. So tell me a little bit, because I would have to say when I first got into pageantry, everything else came more natural for me except the interview. Interview was something that I was like, be myself, but don't be myself. But tell them what they want to hear, but then tell them, make sure you be truthful and blah, blah, blah. So it's like kind of, and I've had, coaches and I've had other people in pageantry going to tell me that. I'm like, okay, but now kind of I've been to a place where I'm like, okay, well, at this point, I'm going to have to, take all of what I've learned and be, me. But also, like, so if you have advice, I'm sure these ladies would love to hear it.
I think one of my favorite phrases, because you threw out some pageant phrases there. I think one of my favorite phrases is, you're only competing against yourself.
Mhm.
And I would hear that, and people would say that like they were trying to help me. But I'm sitting there thinking, what on earth does that even mean? Like, what do you mean I'm only competing against myself? I've got some women over here. I've got some. What does that even mean? Right? And it took me a long time to understand that only I can answer questions about me, right?
Hmm.
And getting really comfortable with sharing my story. And for some of us, that's just going to come easier than for others. Like some of us just need practice. Like I just had to get out there and do it and put myself in uncomfortable situations. I grew up really shy. I don't know why, but I was just very, very shy. So putting myself in those uncomfortable situations like interview was a huge growth moment that, weekend after weekend and year after year, I just I just gradually gained those skills. But it
Good.
really comes down to just being comfortable with who you are and
Right.
just answering the question and not really worrying about what you think you're supposed to say. I think that's
Yeah.
really when we get hung up is like, I know for me, I felt like I was supposed to walk in and just be so perfect and have all the answers. And that's not what it's about. It's about being real and authentic and just being yourself. And
Yeah.
that's when you compete against yourself, right? And I think that phrase is so funny, and I don't like it at all because I don't think it makes any sense.
Uh-huh.
But
No, it
but
totally makes sense. Yes, if I
yeah,
think about it, and I mean, this is my fourth year, so my prior interviews, I think I was competing against myself too, because I think I would do more what the judges wanted to hear
yeah,
than,
yeah,
what, like, I would have to say this last interview that I had, I went out there just with my full glory of this is who I am. I put it on the table. I was
yes,
authentically myself. I'm a very big on being truthful about everything too. And I just was walked out of there regardless. I was so proud. And I think
yes,
that's one thing that no matter an outcome, if you can walk out of there feeling proud about yourself and being able to tell your story, I think that's an amazing thing. And that's one thing I do love pageantry is that being able to bring out my story and inspire other women,
hmm,
it's totally worth it.
oh yeah,
So
yeah,
and even regarding the competing side, it's just worth it to, inspire other women to go out there and do the same.
yes, yes, absolutely.
So, here's a good question. What kind of advice would you give a woman considering entering pageantry for the first time?
Well, I think about how I decided dissected everything about myself before I decided to enter my first Mrs. Pageant. I had the scar on my leg. I had gained quite a bit of weight, just being very, very sick. So I knew that that was an obstacle that I needed to overcome again with, because most Mrs. pageants do have some form of fitness or swimwear.
Mm-hmm.
There were some things that I could easily have talked myself out of it, right? And said, oh, I can never do that. Just like with the scar, until I had that just pivotal moment of, wait a second, all these other people have lost their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I got through it. So how can I let that stop me? And I think each one of us probably come to the table with our own concerns, our own
Mm-hmm.
insecurities, whatever it may be, whether they may be scared of interview like I was years and years ago. Now I love interview. It's my favorite part. It's so funny because I'm like so excited to talk to people about what I'm doing, right? Um, but so we all come to the table with our own insecurities. And when you realize that every single woman competing is coming to the table with their own insecurities
Yeah.
and learning to get comfortable doing uncomfortable things, I really think it's one of the best self-development tools out there for women. I know there's tons of ways that we can do self-development, but I love pageantry because we get so comfortable doing the uncomfortable things. And
Yeah.
so for advice, I know I'm throwing a lot of stuff out there, but so for advice, it would be to not look at your flaws, not look at the things that you could easily say, oh, I can never do that because of this or whatever it was, like I was doing, to just give it a try, because
Yeah.
you're going to make friends. You're going to become a better version of yourself because you're putting yourself out there. So you're going to become a better version of yourself, a better wife, better mother, better career woman, all the things. There's so much to be gained from it. And it's so fun. And when you
Mm-hmm.
think about just not just those aspects, but then just the fun aspects of getting dressed up, which we don't really have those opportunities a lot in
Mm-hmm.
adult life, to
Mm-hmm.
get super glammed up, to go do
Mm-hmm.
a headshot session for your pageant. Like, that's an amazing fun experience that
Mm-hmm.
we don't often take time to do. So I think what I love about it, and why I urge women to do it, is because it requires us to make time for ourselves when it's really easy to not make time for ourselves in adulthood. And when we make that time for ourselves, we become better versions of ourselves for our husbands, for our children, for our grandchildren,
Mm-hmm.
coworkers, all the things. So I can't think of one reason to not give it a try.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's definitely worth it in the long run. And it's fun to see how many, compared to, let's say, 10 years ago, how many women are doing it now?
Yeah.
All different walks, all different sizes, all different ages, all different
Yeah.
nationalities. And like, for example, when we were at Queen of the World last, I
Mhm.
was really proud to be in a room full of so many different ethnicities
Yes.
of women. It made me, it was just very humbling and rewarding.
Mhm.
And it was so nice to see. And that's one thing I loved about it.
Yes.
What is one habit that's had the biggest impact on your success?
Constantly, I'll say consistently, finding ways to make myself uncomfortable, to level up to the next skill.
I love that.
So, which isn't easy, because it's really easy to not find, or to identify those things that are uncomfortable,
Uh-huh.
like public speaking, or we'll just use that one, just like public speaking. It's really easy to find those avenues and then not do them. But to consistently find things that make you personally uncomfortable, and then finding a way to give it a try. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that consistency of identifying, and I guess that takes some self-development, as far as identifying, I don't want to call them weaknesses,
Uh-huh.
because I think that would probably be the go-to word. Identify areas that we need to work on.
Right. Right.
And that's going to vary for everybody, but identify those areas that we need to work on, and then finding ways finding ways to get comfortable and get better at those things. So for
Yeah.
me, it was public speaking. So that meant jumping on every podcast that I could find. I remember the very first one that I did years ago. I was probably sweating through my suit. I was so nervous, right? That was one thing that I did. I thought, okay, I can do hard things, right? That's a catchphrase right now. I can do hard things. I can do this. And so and also doing that in live settings as well. So that
Yeah.
that is I guess that would be my biggest piece of advice.
Yeah,
Just
I love that. The consistency, getting you out of your own comfort zone, which is fantastic. I like, for me, I crave that. It's just a weird thing. I'm like, I never like being comfortable. Like I loved, so,
yeah,
there's people that don't love change. Like I
yes,
am the change girl. I'm like, let's do this. Okay, let's do this. Let's
yeah,
try this. Yeah. I
yes,
think it's a fantastic skill to have. And sometimes like you said, it gets you out of your comfort zone,
mhm,
and it does
absolutely.
identify things that you could work on personally. And as a human being, and as a woman, just in general, there we would be, excuse me, just to say, we'd be dumb if we didn't think that there's always things to improve on, right?
Oh, right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah, and it's not like we're trying to find perfection. We're just trying to reach areas and places that we never had before.
exactly.
And if you're not learning, you're not growing. So,
Exactly. Yes.
yeah,
We're always learning and growing
yeah.
throughout our entire lives. Absolutely.
So, looking ahead, what is next for you, Trinity, and how can our listeners support and follow your journey?
Okay. So they can follow me on Instagram at Mrs. Trinity Pearson. I also have a website, trinitypearson.com. So that's how you can find me. And I have so many things coming up personally and professionally.
Nice.
It's a little bit of an overwhelming phase of life, to be honest. With my youngest, we have two daughters. We're blessed to have two daughters. Our youngest just graduated from high school, so we'll be sending her off to
Yeah.
college in September.
Wow.
We have a packed summer of things for me professionally and with Queen of
Uh-huh.
the World, and then
Hmm.
also family experiences, and then I'm kind of as weird as it is, I'm kind of getting excited about this empty nest phase come September. But I will say, I heard a podcaster recently call it free birding instead of empty nest, and I really like free birding way
Free
better.
birding? That's
Free birding
fantastic.
really better than empty nest, because empty nest makes me think of, like, I don't know, like people that are much older than we are, and so I don't want to, I don't want to think of that way. So I love the idea of free birding,
Free
and so
birding.
I'm really excited about the things that we have this fall. Again, like as far as with my title, traveling with my title, traveling together professionally, that we've never really been able to do because one of us always needed to be here to hold down the fort, right? So
Oh.
it's going to be a new season that I'm really looking forward to, and that's really why when I thought about going back to Queen of the World, I
Uh-huh.
always saw myself in the elite category. It was so interesting when I thought about coming back. I just
Yeah,
always
what
envisioned
made
that.
you choose? Because for those that don't know, Queen of the World, she could do Mrs. as well. I think it's Mrs. What does it drop off at? 40, 55?
50, yeah, 55,
Yeah,
yes,
55.
yeah,
So
$55.
yeah, you can compete
Yeah,
as Mrs. for Mrs. Queen of the World till you're 55, and then you have to go
yeah,
elite, but you
yeah,
can compete for elite as soon as you're 50.
yeah, yeah.
So what made you go ahead?
I had just celebrated my 50th birthday
Uh-huh.
in October of last year. And whenever I thought about going back, because again, I had competed last year
Mm-hmm.
as Mrs. USA, for whatever reason, I always saw myself as elite. And I think it was because I needed to embrace this season in
Mm-hmm.
where at times it has been emotional, right? Just with graduations and pulling at the heartstrings and all the things, it has been emotional, but also at the same time, like to fully embrace like the happiness of
Yeah.
this season, that we did successfully raise two teenage daughters in
Mm-hmm.
2026. They're both in college and both very successful and doing all of the things that their hearts desire. So like to just celebrate this season as well, and that's really what elite meant to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really, I can't explain it other than whenever I would just visualize myself going back, it was always with elite.
I
So
mean, you rocked it. So, I mean, it was perfect choice for you.
oh, thank you.
I think I asked you, I mean, either way, whatever class you do, you're doing fantastic and did well. So either way, but yeah, I think I asked you when we were there that question too. So, but
Yeah.
she brought home the crown. There
Yes.
she is.
Yes. It's
um,
beautiful. So
is there
thank
anything like particular you're going to be doing with Queen of the World before this year? Anything fun and exciting?
Oh goodness, so many things. So many things. I have a couple of trips planned this summer with my book, and going
Oh,
to be doing
nice.
that. An amazing photo shoot coming up in September with the fabulous Jennifer Lloyd. So
Yes.
excited to be seeing her. So I'll be up near you in
Yes, you're gonna
September.
have to call me. I'll come up
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
It's only, I think it's only like 3 hours away from me. So
Oh yes, and so just so many things that I have on the books for right now that I'm still like ironing out and getting flights for and all the
yeah.
things because just going to embrace while it's been of like a very busy season. I feel like I kind of
Hmm.
had a slow start because I had such an emotional busy season getting my family
Well, yeah.
taken care of. But I have so many things,
But
and I keep getting more ideas because I thought I chose this year for a reason, and it's
yeah,
because this fall, this spring, all the way up until crowning my successor, I'm going to be freebirding.
free
So,
birding. I
so,
love that. That is so
so
good.
yes, so many things. Yes.
Is there anything that you would like to tell our listeners or before we go, any kind words of advice, anything that you want them to know about you or anything?
Wow, we've covered so many things. I'm trying to think, is there anything that I haven't shared about myself? But I feel like we've touched on a lot of different things. So I guess if I could leave any type of advice or any type of takeaway, it's don't sell yourself short. If you think about it, and it sounds and you have like a glimmer of that sounds really fun. I think I want to do that, then do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever the thing is, if it's write a book, do the podcast, do the pageant, run the marathon,
Yeah.
whatever it is, like if you think if you have that little thought in your head, then make a way to do it because anytime I've had one of those thoughts, I've never regretted pushing through and making it happen. Sometimes it wasn't always easy. Like, like what I just said, I was the runner-up queen, back in the day. And still, even as a Mrs. contestant, I
Yeah.
was a runner-up for
It,
quite a few times.
it's a bit
Um,
story of my life. I understand.
so,
But God has a purpose. There's something behind it, you know?
yes. Yeah. If it's the desire of your heart, that's
Yeah.
biblical, right? If it's the desire of your heart, whatever it is, whether it's something big like a crown, if it's something like a marathon, if
Yeah.
whatever it is, like if you have that desire in your heart, then find a way to make it happen.
I love that.
Might not be easy, but I know most of the things that I've attained in my life weren't necessarily very easy to attain.
Yeah.
That were the best things, right? So
Right. So it
that
makes you feel
my
good. You're humbled for it. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
It feels great.
absolutely, yeah.
Well, Trinity, you're definitely the queen of queens, and I appreciate you. And I'm so blessed to have you as a sister queen too, as well, and to just to
Yes.
know you more and to represent also as Mrs. USA after you. So it's just to me, it's an amazing person to mentor to look after. You are. And I want to thank you for joining me in the show today. And thank you, folks, for coming out here and listening to us at Lipstick and Lap Times. If today's episode inspired you, make sure you subscribe on youtube.com, Lipstick and Lap Times, as well as you can go and find it on my website at mrskimberlyrobinson.com. If you guys are brands or you're an influencer, or if you're just a business or an individual or whoever, if you want to come on the show, please let me know. We're always looking for sponsors a shout out for our sponsor. This one is Skin Aesthetics Laser here in Tigard, Oregon. And like I said, you can follow us on YouTube. So otherwise, I hope everybody has a fantastic week and happy Monday. And thank you, Trinity, once again for being our special guest. And we will see you all later.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.